And it feels a bit like a kind of holiday park in Butlins.
It still mainly felt quite monolithically pale male stale in a blue suit in the sunshine with sunglasses on, drinking rosé.
You don't walk there and go, here's a contract, please sign on.
It did happen once though.
It did actually. I think you managed to get one in the pub.
So this is another little special episode to celebrate the first day of MIPIM, which we're at. Obviously not now, because we've recorded this in advance. So we go to MIPIM every year in various ways, either me and you or one of us. We take it in turns, depending on who's having a baby that year. But I just thought we'd do this kind of episode to give our kind of, I don't know, why do we go? Why do we go, John?
I think it's connecting into a wider world of real estate and development, and a bit of an excuse to meet with lots of people in a nice place.
So it's got a sort of mixed reputation at the moment, I would say. I think up until COVID, very much it was the place that you had to be, because there was local authorities there was investors there was obviously developers there, and then there was kind of consultants, and there was a whole ecosystem. And I think post-COVID and in a kind of cost of living crisis, the thing that I think is most noticeable is that there's a bit less local authority there. It seems like a harder thing to justify. And so the local authorities aren't there, which means that ecosystem breaks down a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, you didn't go last year, but actually I thought it was really buzzy last year, and there's quite a lot of global stuff going on. And I know this year, a number of the people I know are meeting kind of UK trade delegations. I think Sadiq Khan's coming out. I think some of the government ministers are coming out because they're all keen to get Britain building. And, you know, so I think while you're not getting the local government because they don't want to get caught with the champagne on the beach, kind of embarrassing themselves and look like they're wasting government money, actually big government is moving back in. So actually, you know, probably the stuff we do in the UK, like the UKREiiF, where there's loads of offices and, you know, local politicians like councillors and leaders and etc., is easier chance to meet. But I think it's not really about that. It's about kind of networking and bringing people together and having ideas.
I think MIPIM versus UKREiiF, which is like, they're not exactly directly comparable, but they might as well be. What UKREiiF lacks, I think, is global investors. They're not going to Leeds. It
feels a bit unglamorous sometimes, UKREiiF. I know that sounds sort of like a bit pretentious, but you know, you get there and it feels a bit like a kind of holiday park in Butlins. And it was, when I went there, it was a grey day, and it was kind of like, you know, there's some stuff going on, but it isn't. And I think when you go to MIPIM, it is in Cannes, you know, it is quite interesting. You see all the kind of global stuff that's happening, like whether or not you like it or not, NEOM and other, and there's actually different countries have different, just to explain the setup, it's all around this town, but they have the big kind of exhibition centre, and you have kind of countries and towns and cities from all over the world exhibiting kind of the work they're doing on sustainability, other things. So even having a wonder, like some people never even make it in there.
I bought a ticket, so I think we've been going for 7 years, maybe on and off. I think maybe I've gone out there 6 times. I think we've bought a ticket to which is, we'll come on to the costs, but I think we bought a ticket 2 or 3 times. We do now every year. But previous to that, we didn't even go into the expo because we didn't have the ticket. But once I bought that very expensive ticket, I can't say that I spent a lot of time in that expo, with the exception of the London stand, which has its own marquee and a big model of London, and that is a good point for London architects and UK architects to hang out.
It's full of architects, basically.
Full of architects, but it has occasionally developers and some.
But I think, you know, if there's like students or other people or young practitioners, I do think it's worth getting out there. You meet people, and you don't. A lot of the activity, as you said, Ollie, is not actually in the Palais, which is the big kind of exhibition centre. It's in the bars and restaurants and around. But I mean, I think, coming back to your point earlier about it being a bit tired, I think it was more than just like a change in global investment. I think it was a change in culture. I think there was quite a famous, I can't remember, LinkedIn or Instagram kind of group called Lads, and there was this
MIPIM Lads, I think.
Yeah, or something like that, which is a kind of parody of basically a load of guys in blue suits getting pissed and kind of, you know,
I didn't go last year. I went the year before, and I didn't feel it was much reformed from. It still mainly felt quite monolithically pale male stale in a blue suit in the sunshine with sunglasses on, drinking rosé.
There's definitely an element of that. I mean, I do think there is definitely more women now there. Like, I've got various friends who I met out there who are all kind of directors of companies and different things, and doing different things. But yeah, it is. I guess, fairly representative of UK senior construction and real estate industry. Well, it's not just UK, we should say, but the UK is a big contingent there. So it is, white and male as a majority. But I think what's good, and this is maybe just to plug the RBA for once, we're normally slagging them off, but they do a deal for chartered practices where you get the first one for I can't remember what it is. It's slightly discounted from the main rate, which is a couple of grand. So I think you pay 12 or 1,500 quid, and then every subsequent person is at a reduced. I can't remember. It's £500 or something, and that's a lot cheaper. If you just go and try and buy the tickets straight from it's like £2.5 grand a pop.
Yeah, so the costs rack up quite quickly. So we go every year. This year, 2 of us are going. It's €2,000 per ticket or something like that.
No, it's cheaper because the RBA this year. So it was something I can't remember exactly, but it's like 1,500 quid for me because I'm a chartered member, and then I think for everyone else who is in the chartered practice, it's an extra 500 or something like that.
And then,
but most people have to pay more than that.
Yeah, and accommodation is not that cheap. Flights are not that cheap. Well, you're getting the train.
I always get the Eurostar, which is quite nice.
But yeah, so it can add up quite quickly, and so it's probably our budget's probably around 10k or something like that for the both of us to go.
Less, yeah. I think last year it was 5 or 6 when I just went on my own because you're having a baby, and then I think this year it's about 8 or something. And
there's obviously we do events there, so that that's adds into that budget. But what's the ROI? So we once won a project going there in the first year or the second year, and that was then we always thought. I don't think so. For me, if you go to MIPIM thinking that you're going to win a job, you're going to be disappointed. It's not really the point of it.
It's hard to I think with any kind of sales and marketing process. I think one of our non-execs always said 50% is always guaranteed to be wasted. You just never know which 50%. And I think that was Mads Jensen. So it's hard to know because you're often kind of triangulating connections and stuff. So you're following up with people you've met before. You're talking about stuff that you've had. There's often people there. So I think, you're right. You don't walk there and go, here's a contract, please sign on.
It did happen once though.
It did actually. I think you managed to get one in a pub.
Yeah. Very late at night, and I woke up in the morning and somebody emailed me and said, "You've been appointed on this project," and I could vaguely had a memory of it. So that was amazing. But usually that doesn't happen. What I find is it's like spinning your Rolodex.
That's
my Rolodex.
That's the Me Too problem that lads are talking about.
Don't touch any rolls of dicks. But it's like spinning a roller deck really fast, and you bump back into all these people because everybody from the UK construction industry, not everybody, but there's lots and lots of people that you haven't seen for a few years, and you like restart conversations. What I have to say though is that often those people you haven't done work together because you're not going to work together. I find it sometimes restarts conversations, and then a couple of months later, you're like, I remember this person was a waste of time the first time round, and they're wasting my time again. So that's my only downside to it. But I think for us, our marketing is an ecosystem, and it is a touch point. I think we're now in a position where we've sort of a bit got to be there. I mean, we could choose not to, but I feel like it is, we're bringing our BCB, our Breakfast Club briefings there and doing an event there. And so, the Breakfast Club tends to go to the property places. And we want to talk about the same things that we always do: future cities, sustainability, great placemaking, and everybody's there. The audience is there. We should be there.
I totally agree. There are a lot of the big developers there and investors, and sort of talking about the wider thing. There's some really good talks as well in the kind of exhibition centre. And I think, last year when I went, because I hadn't gone the year before because I'd had a baby, and I think Ollie was there. I can't remember, but I was kind of quite cynical about going back. I was like, oh God, 5 days of non-stop kind of networking and kind of events, and had the idea of like jumping in the sea, and it was really amazing. Actually, the beach there is lovely. So I mean, it's 13 degrees in March. It's actually pretty cold because all the water comes down from the mountain, and we're doing that again this year, aren't we? We're diving into the sea every morning, and I think actually making it something, but it was like you actually, rather than just being stuck in a bar talking to UK property people, kind of getting yourself out and doing something physical. Felt a bit more.
But I don't like cold water as much as you do.
Get a wetsuit.
Yeah,
I did have a wetsuit last year.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes it better.
Yeah. Because you can't really swim for very long if you don't have a wetsuit.
No.
You only have to. You can go in.
I jumped in before, and I could just got straight out.
Yeah. You can go in for about a minute or two.
It hurts your skin.
Yeah. But if you take a wetsuit, I swam out and.
So what does a normal day look like? So we're going to do a swim every morning at 9 o'clock. We're hoping that people join us.
And we hope the sunshine and coffee, which it was last year. There'll definitely be coffee. We then, I mean, typically each day I've got more booked this year. I don't know why, for some reason.
So my methodology of MIPIM is that it's the same as war. The first thing that happens at MIPIM is the plan goes out the window. So I like to minimise the amount of meetings. We're doing one formal event, so I'm going to that. I've got another couple of things that I'm hoping to go to that are other people's events, and I've got 2 meetings with people that I really want to meet. Other than that, I'm like free swim, because that's what I like. I like to be able to adapt the plan, which tends to happen anyway. I think if you book in too much at MIPIM, all you do is end up cancelling a load of meetings. You've got a bit more structure.
Yeah, last year I had less, but there was like quite a few things I wanted to go to, some talks which I never got around to, because you end up kind of having chats
Never
with
been
people.
to a talk at MIPIM, not once.
And yeah, I think I've been to 1 or 2, but not
I went
many.
to a couple at UKREiiF. I feel like it feels like UKREiiF you slightly more stick to the, like there's a bit more. MIPIM ends up being quite informal, I think. Like there's a couple of bars where by midday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, everybody's just there, and nobody wants to really go and sit in a lecture hall because the sun's out and it's March, middle of March. You haven't seen the sun since.
Yeah, it's the
September
first. It is.
before.
Yeah. But I mean, typically, like quite a lot of the different consultancies have lunches and things. You go along to lunch and you talk. Then there's exhibitions on. Then you might meet up with specific developers or other consultants we've got interest about. I know a group of us who are doing retrofit and other stuff. We've got a lunch with Waltham Forest, haven't we?
Yeah.
We're talking there about all the regen stuff that they're doing in their borough and how they're kind of trying to improve it. Then there's some kind of dinners in the evening with different people. I've got books. So it is kind of informal, but I think it's overall kind of valuable and useful, and it's actually trying to find like-minded people that you connect to that can actually start, particularly all the kind of environmental stuff and sustainability stuff we're talking about, but also development, how you make things happen. I think it can be interesting.
Good. Well, I hope that our current future selves are having a nice time.
Yeah.
I'll be on my way there, I think, if we're going to release this on Monday. You might already be there. I'll see you there.
See you there.